Hello everybody, and thank you for joining us from wherever you are in the world for this discussion. I'm Jonathan Ray. I'm one of the Vice Presidents here at Okinawa Institute of Science and Technology on the extraordinary island of Okinawa in Japan. We're here today to celebrate ROS, the Rosalind Franklin Forum for Female Scientists, which is open to all. And we have a panel which I'm sure will provide a very stimulating and helpful discussion with lots of advice, and particularly signposting and guidance to information which is valuable to women and the wider scientific community around the world. So before we introduce them individually, let me just tell you a little more about ROS. ROS is an online platform where graduate students, postdocs, and early career professors, women working throughout science around the world, can actually seek advice. And in return, on the platform, there are extremely wise, highly distinguished individuals, including Nobel laureates, women of science, who will give very frank, humorous, compassionate responses. And you can find those answers, you can find that online dialogue at www.rosforum, that's ROS, R-O-Z, www.rosforum.org. So, in common with the purpose of ROS, we have a terrific panel here for you today who will reflect much of that compassion and humor, personal experience, and good advice. So let me introduce them to you. First of all, we have Professor Paola Laurino, a bioorganic chemist from Italy. From the Czech Republic, we have Dr. Karolina Honzejkova, a structural biology JSPS postdoc. Welcome to you, Karolina. Representing Okinawa, one of our students here at OIST, Erika Fukuhara, who is a graduate student in protein engineering. And we're particularly grateful to have with us the president of OIST, originally from Sweden, Professor Karin Markides, who is a distinguished analytical chemist and also distinguished in international scientific and institutional leadership. So welcome and thank you to all of you. And now let me invite Professor Laurino to kick off today's discussion.
Thank you, Jonathan. Welcome everybody here. ROS, the Rosalind Franklin Forum for Female Scientists Open to All, was named to Rosalind Franklin, an eminent chemist and crystallographer. The ROS is an advisory website for, as Jonathan mentioned, for people in academia, young scientists, but also for much younger generation, and as we will discover today. Today we will go through the website, discuss some of the component and initiative of ROS, and we hope you will be able then to enjoy the website and take advice for that. It's very important for us to think that advice can be reached to everybody in the world. First of all, I would like to ask Erika, which is actually one of the contributors of some of these initiatives, what impressed her, or more maybe she's more attached among this initiative in ROS website.
So the initiative that really captured my heart was the Rosalind Jr. And the reason why I chose this initiative is because I stand behind its goal, which is that it's striving to get young children, both boys and girls alike, to get interested in STEM. And I think there's this effort because I think it's a challenge to get more young people involved in STEM, since STEM is often viewed as a bit intimidating. At least that was my experience when I was younger. I think some people are a bit afraid to approach these subjects, since some STEM subjects, which is science, technology, engineering, and math, are often thought to be too difficult to understand, or it's just too specialized for us to even grasp. And then many times there's a lot of abstract concepts. And so all of that just mixed together can make everything really overwhelming, and for people to get really afraid to even approach these subjects. And it was the same for me as well. So actually when I was younger, I didn't think that I would be here today as a PhD student pursuing higher level education in science. And that was because I didn't have the confidence to pursue this career. I didn't think that I would do well. even when my high school chemistry teacher, he even suggested that I should do some kind of science-related discipline. And at the time, I just kind of brushed off that idea because I was like, oh, that's too hard and it's too difficult. I don't think I'd do well. But luckily, I didn't give in to my fears, and here I am today as a PhD student here at OIST in biochemistry. I'm continuing my never-ending curiosities to better understand how this world works and how proteins work.
And to my understanding, you're quite successful PhD student here at OIST.
I hope so.
And very dedicated, I hear. Also, I see in the Rose Junior beautiful image. I think you have also some heart touch.
Yes, I really like graphic design and science illustration, and you were able to realize this creative talent that I had, and was able to bring me into ROS, and now I'm bringing not only my scientific insights but also my creative insights into this work, and hopefully it can really expand the overall quality.
Fantastic. I would like now to mention another of the initiative that ROS bring to all of you if when is needed, as people is interested, and these are the printable toaster. These are our supporters, which allowed us to take picture of them. And the printable poster is very important because it wants to reach all of you. It wants to, when you can print them, put in your corridor, in the elevator, or in your laboratory, when maybe you have a moment down because the experiment doesn't work. And this poster will remind you that you are not alone, and you can ask for advice, and there is out there an entire community to support you. I would like a bit to discuss more about DEI, and in particular, I know that Karolina had quite a lot of truth about DEI and how DEI should be seen or approached, and also Rose is looking at DEI. Do you want to share your opinion with us?
Yes, I definitely think that DEI is one of the important topics that we should discuss in science today. After all, science is largely funded by society through taxpayers' money. So, in a way, everyone is an investor in science, and so it is natural that everyone should also feel represented in it and benefit from science. At the same time, I think it's not only about fairness, but it's also about effectiveness, because different perspectives bring about different ways of asking questions and different approaches to solving problems. I definitely think that there are some people who think that DEI is not needed, either because it doesn't matter or maybe because they think that all the problems have been solved. But I think when we look around and when we see some statistics, the picture looks very different. And so I think it's really great that there are some wonderful initiatives that address some of these problems. And I believe that all of us should contribute a little. And our way in ROS of contributing in this is our DEI designer. And its key feature, the ROS index, which looks at 5 key areas. And these areas are end-user reach, universal accessibility, expert practitioner availability, scalability, and longevity. And how it works is that you go through questions about these categories, you think about how well you are doing, and you calculate your score.
So basically it's a self-assessment,
yes,
of your DEI initiative, correct?
Exactly. I think this is already really valuable because it makes you stop for a moment and ask yourself some questions such as, am I really reaching the people I want to or that I should, or can I maybe make my program more sustainable? And I think this can really help people and the programs to grow and become better. Also, maybe one thing that I would like to mention, as a part of our DEI designer, we launched the ROS Award for DEI in Science. And this year was the very first. The prize went to the World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts. And what these people do is that they bring science to girls and young women all over the world, even to refugee camps or war zones. So, and they also teach older women, like their grandmothers maybe, or mothers, how to guide them and teach them. So I think this is a really nice example of what DEI can look like.
Yeah, I find it very interesting that they have this badge when they achieve a goal, correct? Yes. And this badge is actually about their science achievement. And you can see some of them in the slide. And I find this very, you always want to have a reward, right?
Yes.
When you achieve something, especially for kids. It's very important, but also for adults. I would like maybe to ask you, Erika, I know that you recently wrote a review for ACS biochemistry, and I know many young students struggle with writing. Do you think ROS can help in any way, or some of the initiative with this main challenge that has been taught to us to school, but not really to write scientific articles?
Yeah, I think the one initiative that I think of right off the top of my head is the anatomy of a research report. And this is really great for, I think, everyone in the scientific community, because it really helps us refine our writing skills and improve the impact of our science communication. I think for many researchers, including myself, we often care a bit more about the data, so the experiments that we're doing, the analyses of our data. And then when it comes time to writing a manuscript, that's when we kind of sit down to think about what might be the best way to communicate this. But that whole process can get a bit overwhelming because we have so much data, we have so much information, and we don't know the best way to organize it, the best way to frame it so that we have a really nice scientific story to get out into the community. And this is where the anatomy of a research report comes in, because it breaks down all the essential components of a research report. And it tells us what's the key points that should be addressed in each of these sections. So the introduction, the methods, the results, and the discussion. And if we follow these guidelines, what I'll end up with is communication that's really clear and very easy to understand.
So you're telling us it's also a scientific process.
It very much is, yes.
As well as when we plan experiments. So basically when we write articles, we dissect it in the same way that we dissect a scientific problem.
Yes, that very much so. We have to plan how we structure our writing, but it can also be like how we structure our presentations as well. I think this could be applicable to so many other forms of communication. So if you're going to make an oral presentation in front of an audience, it's so nice that you craft your story so that people can follow it along and don't get lost. And I think this would even be useful for people where English is not their first language. And I think just writing in a really highly technical manner is just already so overwhelming and daunting. So if you have this resource, like writing samples and phrases and words that you can use in these sections to really get your message across, I think it just makes the whole writing process so much easier.
Thank you, Erika. When we launched ROS, the first initiative we went through, it was asking 5 questions to senior female scientists, as Jonathan mentioned in the introduction. And they gave us impactful advice on 5 main topics that at that time we were mainly thinking about the tenure track faculties. And one of the main topic we were wondering about was about networking. And now we have here the president of OIST, Karin, and we would like to ask more how during the years, or maybe how at the beginning, you built your male-female network, and how nowadays you keep this network alive and help you, still in your journey.
Yes, thank you for this question. That is really close to my heart. And actually, when I was younger and went into science, I come from a background that is not really science is really common. So I also had to go into something that I didn't have too many references to follow. So I discovered pretty soon that I was actually not following the general formula of staying close to the study area, and also when I started to do experiments, I kind of went and talked to other people that had gave me another perspective to my knowledge, so that I could actually do something more, it helped me to think in different ways on my topic. So I was very much told not to do that, because that was not the way you do science. You should stay in your area and and really focus. And I do think that both things are very important. I discovered that over time, that yes, it is important. The area that you choose, you have to be connected to the forefront of that area. And of course you can change focus over time. That's okay. It's even maybe good. But you need to really make sure you are really expert in that field and connected to the global forefront. And when you have that, you really need to make sure that you are networking in different ways. So, because that's how you can get out of the box and really connect to other thoughts. Your prepared mind can actually do something so much more, so much unique and new that you will not be able to do by yourself. And after, in my life, I have actually discovered, and I thought about this a lot, and I've discovered that, we heard about art now and diversity. Those are perspectives that you should bring in to your topic. But there are many more perspectives. Of course, you need to, I remember so well that when I started to be a supervisor for PhD students, and then I asked the students to kind of select a person that they looked up to in science, in the world. And so then I told them that, they got that as a task from me. And then when they did that, I told them to write a letter to that person. They were totally scared and they refused to do so. But, I kind of forced them to do so. And then they were so surprised that they got an answer, a very positive answer. And then, I helped them to arrange that in a symposium, they would actually meet that person. And I think that's a very simple way of getting, connected to a network that you really, you don't make the network what around yourself, where your friends, people think the same thing. You have to do it with people that help you to really, look at your interest from another perspective.
Might be scaring. Because we are within our comfort zone.
Yes, but
when
you start to be
comfortable from outside.
I tell you, when you start to be comfortable, that is, and also many times you make a connection maybe to person that that really kind of you can have a good discussion maybe in a symposium with somebody from industry, something outside of university. And you never know what's going to happen later on, because that person might end up in a very important position in society where you can actually, you keep that network and you build on that network. And not only do you have, the kind of input, I'm not saying that these people will help you with your development, but they will help you with your research development, the content of your research. That's what in focus. And I think that's really important, that it's not, the network is not there for you to make a personal, steps forward for your own interest. No, it's for your science and for your curiosity that you have the network. And it's, I think we need to do much more of that. And to make the network really important, you have to understand yourself. And I think even though it's not really scientific to go and do Myers-Briggs for your understanding of your personal drive, but I think it's very useful, because that's also something that scientists say, oh, no, I don't think I want to know exactly. But you should, because if you know and then you understand that you are your preference are like this, and you will gain if you network with people that have a different preference. And so these type of things, you can really develop very much your scientific opportunities.
Yeah, this is very interesting because I think you touch several points, not only the networking, but you were obviously a great mentor because you help the other student to create their own network by this first contact.
But I don't know if this is something you train or something, but I always, this is what makes me feel good, if I see that I can help make other people.
It's like kids with parents, right?
Well, maybe that's an outcome also of building network. But understand yourself and understand others. You start to feel good about if people are successful and can move forward.
Yeah, when we survey this answer, one of the senior female scientists that answer this question about networking say that the most important network is actually the student in your own group, because that is the next generation networking, is the people who brings new ideas and to you, right? And this was very interesting for me.
I want to say one more thing there shortly. It's also an outcome of this networking is that other people cannot really put you in a box, and they because they don't know, how do you know these persons, and how do you so you become a little mystery for society, and I think that's very useful for women to think about.
Very interesting. I need to think about this more probably. I would like maybe to go back to Karolina. I know there is something just coming up and on the way to develop on the ROS website, and it's about soft skill.
Yes.
Do you want to introduce a bit and tell us a bit more about, I know it's more difficult to discuss because it's just something coming up.
Yeah, I think, we've already heard, I think, partially about soft skills and why they are important. I think often they are not maybe that visible, but as we heard, that doesn't mean that they are less important. I think that when people think about scientists, maybe they often picture things like lab coats or experiments or data, but mainly scientists are people and they need more than the technical skills to succeed. And these soft skills are rarely taught. I think most academic programs don't include programs or don't include courses on things like teamwork or stress management or leadership. Maybe it comes at later stages, but early career scientists usually don't have access to this. Of course, some of them, as we heard, are fortunate enough to have great mentors who can really help and who can guide them through many of these things. But I'm sure many others are not so lucky. And then I think it's really easy to struggle. And that is why we are developing this tool, Soft Skills in Science, which is based on the real life experience of senior researchers who have shared the answers about things like competing demands, career choices, or balancing work and life. And we are trying to turn this into something more interactive or more engaging than just a list of advice. So we would like to, or we are preparing it in a game-like format where you are challenged by these lifelike scenarios. So one example that I can share is a situation where you can imagine you are a PhD student who is maybe struggling with a very difficult experiment. The experiment is really crucial for their PhD project. And this PhD student is approached by a more experienced postdoc who is offering their advice. And so here the question can be how willing you are to, or how much control and how much credit you are willing to give up in order to finish this project, because obviously every decision comes with some consequences. So this is one example, and then there are many more. Of course, they are also relevant for different career stages, and we hope that in this way, like, it can serve as a rehearsal space, sort of, for this soft skills side of science. And we hope that young scientists will be able to develop some strategies and confidence before they have to face these challenges in real life. So
can be quite tough. Initial career before you encounter many difficulties.
But I really think that this time when you are in the university as a student and also as a postdoc, and you know, it's a time when we should really help more to develop these leadership skills, because it's in a way, of course, you are still depending on other people, very much so. But also you should be able to feel secure that you can test and you can develop at this time. So I think that's a really good approach.
Yeah, to be safe that you can test.
Yes, because the generation now that are studying are going to be leaders in a very important time for.
Yes, for our planet. Yes, for our planet. Yes, right. I would like to thank all of you for your insights and the comments. I would like to add a few words. At ROSE, we welcome criticism, constructive criticism. We understand that people might have different perspectives, and we are happy to listen as long as these are base for improvement. However, the main focus of ROSE doesn't want to be this criticism. The main focus of ROSE is to help young generation to flourish and do their best in their academic career. And also the focus of ROSE is to make people feeling that they are not alone, but there is a structure and there is always someone who can help you with advice. Thank you.
Paola, thank you very much for that. And to all panel members, I hope joining us at this session, you feel that we've been able to distill the essence of ROS, the value, excitement, support that ROS can provide, and that has been done through very personal, frank, open and cordial testimony. So let me, on behalf of our institution, one more time thank Dr. Honzejkova for her contribution, President Markides, future Dr. Fukuhara, I think, won't be long, and of course Professor Laurino for moderating this very interesting discussion. OIST is really proud to be part of Science Summit. It's great that you could all join us. And from Okinawa in southernmost subtropical Japan, and our real oasis of world-class, really exciting science, interdisciplinary work, constant discovery, we wish you all well. Goodbye.